This is a milestone year for Erie, marking 200 years since the War of 1812. And you can't go far in Erie without coming across a landmark named after Erie's hero, Oliver Hazard Perry.
Oh, the Perry Monument over on Presque Isle. Perry School. Perry's Landing.
Perry Square.
Perry Square.
But how many Erie natives know who he was? Do you know who this is?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yeah, Napoleon. No?
Do you know who this is?
No.
Do you know who this is?
No. He looks familiar, but I don't know his name.
Oh, that's probably Wayne.
Daniel Dobbins?
Close. Many recognized him right away.
That's Oliver Hazard Perry.
Perry, isn't it?
Oliver Hazard Perry.
Probably Oliver Hazard Perry, maybe. Sure, it's Oliver Hazard Perry.
It's Perry.
Perry is our hometown hero, but he wasn't even from Erie. But how many people knew where he came from?
No, I don't, actually.
Was he from Erie?
No, he wasn't.
Do I know where he's from? No. I know he's long dead.
He's from Kingston, Rhode Island.
Some people are unsure where the Battle of Lake Erie was fought.
It was fought out more toward the west, I think.
Misery Bay?
Over down by Ohio, closer to Ohio.
Perry actually defeated the British in Put-in Bay near Sandusky, Ohio. By the time this Fox 66 Focus week-long series ends on Friday, you should be an Erie history buff and be able to answer all these questions. Elizabeth DeAurora, Fox 66 News. Imagine Erie in the 1800s. Historian Dr. David Frew says about 400 people lived here. They came to Erie because of the location and importance of the water. Once the United States declared war against Britain in 1812, history started to take shape in our own backyard.
What made Erie an exciting place to be at the time was that it was determined that a naval base would be built here. And here's where we would build some ships and gather any other materials that we needed and attack the British out in the middle of Lake Erie.
And that's when our hometown hero, Oliver Hazard Perry, enters the history books.
Perry was assigned to be in charge and direct the naval base in Erie, Pennsylvania for the War of 1812. He came here in 1813 to prepare the fleet for the Battle of Lake Erie, sailed down to the western end of Lake Erie, and directed the Americans in their successful victory over the British in the Battle of Lake Erie.
Don't give up the ship, the phrase Perry coined, has significance that came from one of his friends.
Perry's friend and hero was a fellow by the name of James Lawrence, who fought in the War of 1812 on the Atlantic. And he died in a tough battle. And as he was dying, he was said to have said, "Don't give up the ship," as they were carrying him dying down below. And Perry picked that up.
So much of our history revolves around one of Erie's greatest assets, Lake Erie, and Frew believes that the water will play an important role in our future.
Erie owes its identity and its roots to the naval base, the building of the fleet, the people that came here to build the fleet that loved it here and didn't want to leave, stuck around here and started doing commercial shipbuilding and shipping. Look out into the water and imagine that that's still the most efficient way to deliver anything. And look at the guy next door that's building barges and ships and doing ship repair. That's our future out there, I think. It's connected to our past.
Elizabeth DeAurora, Fox 66 News. Erie history isn't a topic you usually hear being taught in social studies classes. That means Erie's future generations aren't knowledgeable about Erie's past. The Erie History in the Classroom project, known as the War of 1812, the Forgotten War Remembered, is working to change that.
It's important because it makes history fun, first of all, and it's so incredibly important that these kids that live in Erie know that we had our 15 minutes of fame, in the history books.
Retired and active Erie school teachers joined with members of the Perry 200 commemoration to develop the pilot program that was installed in 5 schools. At Joanna Connell Elementary School, history came to life.
And William Henry Harrison and Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry.
5th graders dressed up as heroes from the War of 1812 and taught the 2nd graders.
I then left my hometown to come to Erie to build a fleet and train troops for the War of 1812.
Principal of Joanna Connell says the Erie History program has been a success.
Very positively, I think it's great for them to learn about Erie history and have pride in their community.
It was a creative way for history to sink in.
If they're teaching it, they understand it better because you can't teach it unless you get it. So it was just kind of to seal the deal for them and make it a little bit more interesting for the little ones.
Through the pilot program, students also had the chance to visit the Maritime Museum and tour the Brig Niagara. Erie history in the classroom will be taught for a month, with the possibility of including it in lesson plans for years to come. A positive reaction from students is a good sign.
Well, I'm grateful that I got to do this and the opportunity that I got.
Elizabeth Diarora, Fox 66 News.
It basically signifies that the ship has two masts and square-shaped sails. If it had another mast or one lass or different shaped sails, it wouldn't be a brig. Niagara is in fact the most historically authentic tall ship in North America. During the battle, each of these large ports would have been filled with a gun in order to inflict the most amount of damage on the British. A lot of folks always want to know why Niagara has a tiller to steer as opposed to a wheel. Because Niagara was designed for such shallow spaces and getting over the sandbars in Lake Erie, it would have been extremely difficult to build a wheel mechanism. If this was blown to bits by a cannon shot, you could literally stick a tree branch back there and still maintain steerage of the vessel. When the sailors were sleeping at nighttime, they would have taken their hammocks out and stretched them out in the berthing deck. But during the day, they would have been tightly wrapped in here and provided an extra level of protection in the battle against rifle fire. Each of the sailors in the Battle of Lake Erie would have been assigned a sea bag, which are the canvas bags behind you, and all of their earthly possessions would have had to fit in one of those bags. If it didn't fit, it stayed on shore. In the height of the Battle of Lake Erie, there was so much carnage and damage done to the ship and blood on deck that the deck seams above us actually started to leak blood. Imagine all of those hungry mouths to feed and having to do it all on a traditional wood stove. We still use the stove to this day on Niagara, and whether someone's coming out for a day sail or a voyage, all meals, they're all prepped on that stove in front of you. Now, right now you're walking through the petty officers' quarters. This is where the able-bodied seamen would have slept. The table that we have in front of us would have been the officer's dining table, but rather gruesome because it also doubled as the surgeon's table. And this is the captain's cabin. And remember, Jesse Elliott was the captain of Niagara before it was turned over to Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry. So it was really built for one purpose: beat the British and win the battle.
Elizabeth Diarora, Fox 66 News. The kickoff to the Perry 200 commemoration at Perry Elementary School and across the city marked the start of the biggest celebration in Erie's history.
Every 50 years since 1913, Erie's been celebrating. They had a huge celebration in '63. They had one in '13. We're going to have one again in 2013 and 12. So what's occurring is a moment for the community to revitalize itself, to celebrate what it was, to get excited about what it is, and most of all, to start planning about what it can be.
More than $1.5 million was raised through 75 sponsors to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the War of 1812 and the Battle of Lake Erie.
88% of those we approached committed, and that is an extraordinary percentage. And it's an indication that the town recognizes that this is more than a celebration. It's a celebration of who we were.
The entire celebration is geared towards the citizens of Erie.
What this event will do over the 18 months is to bring people together so that we have a strong sense of civic pride and we're united as a community. We have a pretty fantastic city, and it deserves a pretty fantastic celebration.
Several events are planned throughout the course of 2012, but next year will be the biggest event. This year all builds up to July 4th, 2013.
We're going to fire fireworks from 4 parts of this county. We're going to fire from Mill Creek. We're going to fire from Lawrence Park and Harbor Creek. We're going to fire from Summit, and we're going to fire from the Bay. It'll be a $100,000 display that will light up the skies of Erie like they've never been lit up before.
The celebration will put Erie on the map as a city with a huge celebration remembering the War of 1812.
It really puts Erie in a very special place nationally, and we want this celebration to be not only big but memorable.
Elizabeth DiAurora, Fox 66 News.
We're in it to win it.
Bridget Buzzard from Therapy Dogs United is keeping her team's float a secret other than revealing a drawing. She says she wants her nonprofit to win the bragging rights of first place for the best float. Rick Trapp from the Commodore Perry Yacht Club says he's put in about 100 hours working on the two ships for their float.
We're building a Niagara and we're building a British ship, and we're going to have them on separate trailers and going down the road and kind of like simulating like they're in battle with each other.
This will be the first time in nearly 18 years that there will be giant helium-filled cartoon balloons. There are 50 floats set to travel east on 12th Street from Cherry to 3rd and State Street through downtown Erie. Organizing 200 participants in a 1.8-mile parade route has kept members of the Perry 200 commemoration working around the clock.
We've been meeting for months now, every Monday, and then I'm on the phone with everybody on the parade committee almost every day. The phone rings off the hook, and it's been keeping us busy. People are really excited for this parade.
The Sons of Lake Erie members are excited, with about 30 of their members on their parade committee creating a red, white, and blue patriotic float.
I saw a lot of enthusiasm. People really thought it was a project that we could do and have a lot of fun doing it.
Even though you'll have to wait until May 25th to see the Therapy Dogs United float, Buzzard gives you a taste of what you can expect.
When our dogs enter someone's heart, we leave a paw print. So I thought, what is better than a sail sailing into someone's heart and then linking it back to the brig?
It's been in the works for over a year and a half, and today the fruits of hours and hours of labor finally paid off in the culmination of the Perry 200 Grand Patriotic Parade.
This is a big deal. This is a celebration, 200th anniversary of the Battle of Lake Erie, which was a turning point in the War of 1812. And so I couldn't be more honored and pleased to be able to be here today, and a fine day it is, weather-wise.
It's an honor to be the Grand Marshal at this time. If we had 10 degrees, we'd have the absolute perfect day.
But the cool temperature was just right for some in attendance.
Nice and cool, not too hot, not too cold, lots of cool bands, great balloons, the kids love it, having a great time with the family.
Good turnout and enjoying the weather. It's a great time.
We have great weather, a lot of units, a lot of people came out for this. I think it's going to be a really nice day for everybody.
With more than 50 floats and more than 200 units, including the Jet 24 News and Weather Team, families had a chance to see a little bit of everything in the Grand Parade, and an even better opportunity to catch up with other members from the community and come together as one.
I think it's really exciting, and my friends are going to be here. I like it.
It's really impressive and speaks volumes about the patriotic spirit of our town.
The streets of downtown Erie were jam-packed as Erieites celebrated our flagship city's history with the Perry 200 Grand Patriotic Parade on Saturday. Numbers are still being tallied, but parade chairman Ray Linyeski says the year and a half of planning paid off in more ways than one. He says an estimated more than 100,000 people attended, and downtown businesses boomed.
The amount of people, the food that was for sale, the drinks, and the amount of vending that went on, all the businesses up and down State, and then even out 12th Street yet.
Businesses like the UPIC 6 Tap House and Steve-O's Pizza are still celebrating the profits from the Perry 200 Parade.
We had a great Saturday. It's about 3 times our normal Saturday. We were rocking all day long.
The whole lobby was filled up. The crew, we had extra crew members in here working.
Aaron Brisby, a bar manager at the UPIC 6 Tap House, says the bar faced an economic boom and bringing in extra employees paid off.
We brought in everybody was working. We had some extra people here. We were still it was still hard to handle just because the amount of people that were down here.
And workers at these businesses downtown tell us that anytime there's typically a large event, it pays off and they see a massive boom in business.
A lot of orders and stuff, and people were there's so many people standing out here. It was a good experience, just a lot of working.
Brisby says summer events like the Perry 200 Grand Patriotic Parade and Roar on the Shore may be hectic, but the small businesses continue to benefit.
really fantastic for Erie. It helps all the local businesses.